And my first experience with podcasting and whatnot was with Camtasia Studio, and I used it mainly in terms of recording lessons for students that might be absent and posting them so that they could re-access them and archive them. But also, if I knew I was going to be absent, that I could have content for my students to go through. So, I would tell my students, well, I know I'm going to be out on this day. You could hear the yes and all that. Only to then get the feedback when I come back on Friday. That was really nasty. Why did you do that? Why did you record your voice? That was so creepy, hearing your voice and not seeing you standing there, because I had a pre-recorded presentation. So I've been archiving my lesson material for quite a few years now. About 3 years ago, I switched up how I was teaching my advanced chemistry class, because we too have full inclusion. But we do have 3 levels of chemistry. We have applied, we have regular, and we have advanced chemistry. And at that time when we made that switch, we had 2 years of chemistry. We had a Chem 1 and a Chem 2. And the Chem 2 course was very popular, but at the time the district went to a teaming-based strategy, K through 12. And so, being the only chemistry certified person in the district, at that point in time, I became the 11th grade science teacher. All 11th graders had me, and there was no possibility of having that second year. In that second year course, I got to do some more advanced topics, organic, nuclear chem, some really fun stuff. And I was faced with, how can I still get them exposure to this, but deal with the fact that I only have 180 days to do it. So I began thinking about this idea of, well, I've already archived some of my material. Why not put more of it up there? So it was very much a dip my toe in, go at it slowly, work a few lessons in as I'm going along. And over the course of the last 3 years, I've gotten most of my materials posted. The site that I use for mine, and I've linked this up, I apologize for the size, although perhaps it's appropriate for those of you with mobile devices. I don't know if you'll find this useful or not. Like I said, I'm kind of a techie. Actually, this is fine. So I like, QR codes are something that I've recently come on and think would be useful to integrate with worksheets and whatnot to get them to some more engaging content online. So that's actually the URL to get you to this site, where I basically have summarized what I'm sharing with you right now, as well as some of my resources that I would suggest. But the site that I use for sharing my content is a site called AuthorStream. And AuthorStream is similar to slideshare.net. If you're familiar with that, you can take your PowerPoints, post them. With SlideShare, and I don't have a lot of experience because I started with AuthorStream and have loved it, so I've stuck with it. With SlideShare, it's pretty much just the PowerPoint itself. You can add audio, but it's after the fact. With AuthorStream, you can actually record the narrations and save it, link to the PowerPoint file itself, and then upload that complete package to AuthorStream. Once it's there, you're given a URL you can post your website, you can embed it. They've recently added the functionality that you can not only embed in Flash, but also in iPad compatible format as the MP4. You can also live present, okay, if you so choose to do that. So I was introduced to that with some work that I did with the intermediate unit and blendedschools.net, and I took that piece away from that experience. And I found that to be very effective. So AuthorStream is a great friend of mine when it comes to flipping my classroom. A lot of the same things that you've heard throughout the morning here, I found that it's enabled me to provide my students with more practice time in class, with me there, able to actually help them out and answer their questions. And really that was my driving goal. My original goal of being able to get to more of those advanced topics, we're still working on that. With the changeover from lecture to in-class work time, you still have that, your time is still a wash. You're still covering the same material, you're just using the time differently and more effectively, I think. So I'm finding ways to get that content added in. Some of the other resources that I use, I'll just highlight quickly here. Discovery Education. Our district subscribes to Discovery Education United Streaming when we first started with it. It's an excellent resource, lots of media content, content that can be downloaded and embedded, but also there's a student license with it. Students can download and use those clips with their projects. So when you're talking about getting to the construct level, okay, and having students synthesize, and to demonstrate their understanding, they've got that resource at their disposal. Also, through my work with the Discovery Educators Network STAR program, I had access to their science tech book, which is their virtual textbook for a variety of topics. But the nice thing about that is it overlays and integrates their rich media content directly in with your typical textbook material. So instead of having to go out and find a video on a certain topic, you go in the tech book, you find that material or that topic, and it's right there in the sidebar. POGL is something that I have just gotten into this year. Like I said, I like to tinker, new things come on the radar, and I try them out, see if I can work them in. And this was something that, as I was preparing my budgets, I came across. The material that I worked with came from Flynn Scientific. It's a teacher's manual with DVD or CD with the student materials on it. When I first looked at the materials, I thought, it seems a little simplistic, but we'll give it a shot. Honestly, this is one of the few resources I can name off the top of my head that I have been so impressed with right from the get-go. For as simplistic as some of the introductory models may seem, the kids get it. I mean, I am getting understanding of concepts from my applied classes up through my advanced classes of electron configurations, all right, and then distribution of electrons, electron levels and light, all right, and emission, Coulombic attraction, and they're retaining it because I come back to it unit after unit and say, remember, why do we see this trend? What's the reason for that? And they can name off, the factors of Coulombic attraction and test that. So that is something that I've just started getting into. I've integrated it quite a bit this year. I'm looking forward to integrating even more of that. As far as my suggestions for those that are considering the flipped model, again, start small, okay? There's nothing saying you have to go whole hog. Try it with as little as one lesson. See how it goes for you. You'll find what works, what doesn't work, you tweak as you go along. When you have a larger chunk of time, if you like how it's going, then go ahead and work on integrating more of your curriculum. Again, I heard this point earlier, the students like to hear and see you. Okay, right now I've got mainly just audio narration with my PowerPoints, but AuthorStream also allows you to be able to embed like a webcast or a webcam video. So you can be on the screen and they don't have to be weirded out by just hearing your voice and not seeing your lips move at the same time. And again, I think one of the biggest advantages of this is it gives you, more work time with the students, but it also gives you a chance to work in some of those resources that you just haven't had time to work in. Okay. Again, on the website here, I've listed all the resources, or most of the resources. This isn't a complete list. I've also embedded some YouTube playlists that I have found personally very helpful. When I first started with the POGL, I went out and did a quick search, and this was very appropriate. It's a series of 3 videos. It's a chemistry classroom, and each one is, I think, 4 minutes or less, and it shows the process of using the small groups, the different roles, and how you effectively utilize that process in the chemistry classroom. So I really like those. With the flipping model, Katie Gimbar, teacher from North Carolina. If you have questions about what is this all about, hopefully a lot of them have been answered here today. But she has a series of 16 videos, frequently asked questions, and this is just a small piece of the content she has out there explaining how she flipped her classroom and some of the common questions that a lot of teachers have. And she answers them in a very concise way. This particular model, you see the Fizz model right up there. Basically, it's one-shot, one-take videos with a flip cam. All right, so you have your whiteboards, you set them in sequence. All right, it's a close-in shot, very intimate video, and you record, do it in one take, and then post those. Okay, so just a different mechanism for the flip process. And from what I've seen, what I've looked at of their materials, I'm very impressed with it. And again, I may integrate some of that sort of material into more live action material rather than just my PowerPoint slides narrated for them.